to ses in conjunction with shin, means to treat something the way you treat a guest or the way a student treats his teacher. Another meaning of sets is to control or to arrange things in order. Shin means heart or mind. So sesshin means to have proper functioning of mind. It is our five senses and our will, or our small monkey mind, which should be controlled. When we control our monkey mind, we resume our big mind. When monkey mind is always taking over the activity of big mind, we naturally become a monkey. So monkey mind must have its boss, which is big mind. However, when we practice Zazen, it is not that big mind is actually controlling small mind, but simply that when small mind becomes more calm, big mind starts its true activity. Most of the time in our everyday life, we are involved in the activity of small mind. That is why we should practice Zazen and be completely involved in resuming big mind. Suzuki Roshi then gives a traditional Japanese example. He says, a good example of our practice is a turtle, which has 4 legs, a head, and a tail. 6 parts of the body, which are sometimes outside the shell and sometimes inside. In the case of danger, if you're in your daily activities, your head and your legs, if you're a turtle, are outside the shell. If you're in danger, you draw into the shell. And the 6 parts refer to the 5 senses and the mind. This is sesshin. To be concentrated in the sesshin, to be concentrated on something may be important, but just to have a well-concentrated mind is not zazen. It is one of the elements of practice, but calmness of mind is also necessary. So don't intensify the activity of the 5 sense organs. Just leave them as they are. That is how to free your true mind. Because you think that following the rules of the intensive is right, you may want to concentrate on that. But he says, he quotes Dogen as saying, because you think it is right at that time, you follow the theory or rules, but you also have some space in your mind to change your idea. That is soft mind. So he recommends bringing the quality of softness and flexibility to sitting in a session. He says to exist in big mind is an act of faith, which is different from the usual faith of believing in a particular idea or being. This is a kind of faith that involves believing in something that is supporting you and supporting all of our activities, including thinking mind and emotional feelings. And he concludes, so we don't practice Zazen to attain some big enlightenment that will change our whole being or solve all our problems. That is not the right understanding. That may be what people call Zen, but true Zen is not like that. Instead, in sesshin, we concentrate on having the experience of true practice. Forgetting all about any idea of gaining anything, we just sit here. Let us continue. He concludes. So, concentration, calming, bringing a gentle flexibility to the difficulties that you face as you sit and as you make transitions from sitting to other activities and then coming back. Those are all important. And they will be part of what we'll talk about tomorrow and on Sunday as well in the talks that Laurie and I will give. And I will talk about what the Buddha taught about dependent arising and the way in which our minds, in the very, very subtle psychology that had already developed by the Buddha's time, way in which our minds operate, and how that conditioning that develops well before rational thought can dominate in our lives, particularly because we don't think about it. And Laurie on Sunday will be talking about the factors which lead to liberation, and how, in fact, all those things which are conditions cascading one on each other to keep us grasping and keep us returning to ignorance can, in fact, all be pathways to liberation. I asked in an email that I sent out yesterday for people to be prepared to offer something, if they would be willing to, that helps delineate this time, that helps set aside the time for a session, even a brief one like this few days, and makes it shine with its own light, as it were, and does that activity that Suzuki Roshi was talking about. And I would like to invite anyone who would like to share something on that to raise your hand, and then let me call on you. I see Nilda has raised her hand, and I have two screens here, and I may not be able to see everybody. I'm going to move closer to the screen so I can see better. Nilda, would you like to?
Good evening. Yes, I hope everyone is well. So I raised my hand so quickly because you mentioned a turtle, and that's exactly what I brought. I hope you can see this. And it's a picture I took in Cabo San Lucas a couple of years ago when I went on a yoga retreat there, and I had gone ahead of the group just to spend some time meditating on the beach and watching infinity touch infinity, the ocean touch the sky. And this particular day, I was walking on the beach, and I'll mention this part because it's significant in why I stopped and noticed this little guy. And so I was walking, and these two rambunctious dogs jumped on me, and the owner called him off and was upset with him, and I didn't want him to be upset with them. I just, didn't want them to jump on me anymore. And so they were sniffing around the beach, and I kept walking after that situation was calm, and I saw movement, and it was this little fellow. And I connected the dogs with this little guy, and I found out later it was probably a little male turtle that had just hatched because it was late in the season. And I thought, oh my goodness, those dogs are sniffing around, the shoreline, and I don't want them to hurt this guy, so I'm going to stay with him for a while. And so I watched him, and I watched him do what we do in our practice. I watched him work toward and with life. And I watched as the sound of the ocean reverberated with him speeding toward it. And I watched as the waves crashed on him and pushed him back 10 spaces when he'd only come, forward 5. I watched him refocus and try and work and try to eventually get in the flow of this massive body of water, in which flow he didn't know his destiny, but he knew he was headed that way. And that's what is going to keep me focused on my practice this weekend. This little guy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Monica, I see that you have raised your hand also.
Yes, I have a statue or whatever, that Robin Riso, who our dear friend who left us about 1.5 years ago, this is an Avalokiteshvara that I'm going to pay extra attention to and sort of invoke Robin's presence here with us as part of our Sangha. You know, and there's a lovely lotus flower and just a really lovely statue. So this is going to be what I'm going to pay attention to on my altar during this retreat.
I'll share.
Lisa.
So I took a picture. Let's see how this works. It's not too bad. The color's not quite right, but this Buddha is my altar that I see when I walk into my bedroom. And it's really important to me because of all the different pieces that went to make it just the way I like it, sitting on this kind of a live wood pedestal. And in the background is a tapestry I got at a workshop on Molokai at the Hui. And then the little Jiso Peg gave me after my accident. So that's just a little sanctuary altar for me that really keeps me grounded, and I always feel thankful when I look at it. So I'll keep it by me during this intensive.
I see Joan Harmon's hand.
Hello. I have this beautiful singing bowl that my son brought back from Thailand. And I have 2 children, and I think they both think I'm a little kooky for doing what I do. But it was so touching that he went to Thailand, and it's pretty heavy. He got it at the beginning of his trip and carried it in his backpack the whole way and accidentally left the price tag on it. And he's pretty tight with his money. And I was amazed at what he spent for it. And it's just so dear that he would care enough to break out of his feelings about what I do and give me something that he thought I would love. And it does sound beautiful. It sings beautifully.
Stephanie, and then Effie.
So I have this, I don't know if you can see it. Can everybody see that? That's Flint and Peg. And a lot of you were there when this was taken. This was at Peg's Dharma transmission. I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Somewhere around there, over at AZC. And I remember there were a bunch of us standing around snapping pictures of Flint and Peg. And I was so pleased that I caught this one when they were both just smiling so big. And it was obvious this was just such a happy day for both of them. And I remembered how, because I was sewing my rakusu at the time, I remembered that Peg was working on her robes. And I remember the commitment that she had was just astounding to me. And so this is part of my altar. This always sits on my altar. And I've moved to California temporarily, and I brought my altar with me. So when I was able to unpack it and set this up, it made me very happy. And even my 2-year-old, he recognizes these are my teachers. So this is what keeps me grounded and practicing. Thank you.
Effie?
Hello. I have a Buddha statue here, and this Buddha statue has a lot of creatures on it, children and mice even. There's a chicken, and down here there's a dog and a turtle, and basically this Buddha is carrying all the suffering of all of these beings on his robe, and it's just very pretty. I really like it.
Okay. I saw a message before that 2 other people had their hands raised, but
Connie raised her hand.
thank you. Connie?
So I don't have an object, but I like to hold the space by getting up and doing something that I love to do, but I usually discount the time for it. So I intend to get up and go for a walk with the sun in the morning. I think it's a nice way, you know. In normal life, I get up and I check the computer and try and answer emails, and I know that's not a nourishing way to get through the day. So I've given myself this weekend to forget the computer, other than, of course, we need it for this, but and to go for a walk with the sun, because I think timing with the earth works well for me.
Kim? You're still muted, Kim. Good.
This morning, you can hear now?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't undo anything. Oh, maybe someone did. This morning when I was sitting, I thought I would bring my hand, and I had just so much gratitude toward my these opposing digits here. And I told my wife at dinner, and she said that was dumb. So then I decided to bring this. And this guy is I call him Dr. Doolittle, because as a kid I had a bad speech problem and no one could understand me, but Dr. Doolittle could. If you know, he was the one who was the doctor for animals. And I made this around 1985. And these little plastic gizmos were kind of decorations for shoes, and a shoe company went out of business and gave everything to our school. And I got all these boxes of these trinkets. And I remember the couple, and they both had tattoos from being in a concentration camp. And they gave us this giant table, and I put it in the sculpture studio. And whenever I saw the table, I thought of them, and these little plastic trinkets followed me around as I moved to different places. I don't have any left now except these 2. But so this is Dr. Doolittle, and this has been kind of my whole life working with this guy. So it's me, it's other people, it's being able to communicate, it's being able to understand all of this. So that's Dr. Doolittle, and this is my hand.
Thank you. Lisa, and then Sarah Webb. Lisa Judge, and then Sarah Webb.
Yeah, thank you. I think I've got 2 things. The first thing that just intuitively came to mind when I read over your request was Tolstoy's novel War and Peace. And I think that's just because war and peace throughout my life have been issues that I've dealt with, and The second one is something from the Wednesday night's gathering where Ellen did the koan, and it simple quote, ordinary mind is the way. And I won't necessarily, I'd like to understand that better. So thank you.
Sarah?
I had to laugh because I brought my hands, Kim, and the things that they remind me of, respect and coming together, receptiveness. When I drive, I put them on the steering wheel and am present. And I do that on long trips. That's one of the ways I come to myself. When I open a door, I use my hand to open it and am aware I'm moving from one space to another, which I started doing when I would open the door to go into Dakusan with my teacher. And then the last one, well, there may be more. Oh, when I wash my hands, I changed from happy birthday to me, to gate gate paragate. It's 3 of them. It's the time to wash your hands. And then I'm aware of them as I wash them. And the last one is when I hold my hands together, like down low, but one hand is holding the other and supporting me. And I think if faith, then faith, or taking refuge, that there is that soft support. So that's it, hands.
Olivia, and then Anne Heinen.
I don't have an offering, but I have a koan that was offered by Ekio. Don't worry. Please, please. How many times do I have to say it? There's no way not to be who you are and where. It takes me a lot of places.
Anne?
I have a brief David White poem, which many of you might already know. It's enough. Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here. This opening to the life we have refused again and again until now. Until now.
Becky?
Yes, I'd like to actually just turn off my video so that you can see what it is that I brought, which is the thing that a number of you have seen. And I'll just tell you a little story about it and read something that I wrote in relationship to it. So let me, this is a painting that I did after my friend Darcy and her husband came to visit me a few months, about a year and a half ago. And we went for a walk, and I had gotten tired and needed to not keep walking, and they wanted to go off onto some steeper climbs as well. So I sat, and then after I'd sat for a while, I felt like doing my qigong in the forest. And so this is what I wrote this is what I wrote. It's, I am a tree among trees. My roots reach far into the earth. My ankles are circled by dew-jeweled moss. Sap rising, I feel myself stretch anew. My trunk, branches, leaves, reaching for the light, warmth, chi of the sun. My ancient friends and I dance in the wind to the music of the spheres. I am a sprout among ancient, amazing trees. I know I am a tree becoming. Energy, love, strength, song, inspiration, insight and perception, grace and wisdom. Some of the steps in the dance. Joy is being in the forest, surrounded by and connected by friends and other beings, surrounded by and connected by life, chi. This sprout is grateful for the forest and the trees.
And Lipscomb.
Have something that a Dharma friend gave to me, a pack of self-compassion cards, which are Pema Chodron's teachings about the Lojong slogans. And I turn one over every day at work on my desk. But there's one that I turned over a few weeks ago that I can't let go of. And I wanted to hold that with this. And it says, self-liberate, even the antidote. And Pema Chodron's commentary on that is, do not hang on to anything, even the realization that there's nothing solid to hold on to.
Robin Bradford.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm not seeing myself, so it's kind of hard to see. Oh, here I am. So here's my altar back here. But there's something a friend gave me, and the words are no exertion, great presence. And it's a dandelion, and its seeds are just flying off. And so that's my aspiration. No exertion, no work going on here, but great presence.
Darcy Schneider. Darcy, you are muted.
Sorry, I forgot. So from my altar, I'm going to show you a couple of things I found on my walks, which are really grounding for me. This one is a bird nest, and it feels like a great refuge for me, something that holds, you know. And I have a few rocks. This one is one that I found by the pond on a writing intensive, and it was very warm, and I pick it up, and I remember how the warmth of the sun warmed me that day. I keep that on my altar. And then the other is, this is the bowl that I got from the precept ceremony, And I've decided to keep it empty because it reminds me of the emptiness, that I am learning to let go of a lot of things that I don't need anymore. So, thank you.
I'm just hearing all these.
Hi, it's Rosemary, but I need 1 second, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, so this is my holiday card this year. So if you can see, it's a crocus in the snow. So I guess for me, it's about growth and beauty in an unexpected environment. So that's my offering. Thank you.
Did you make that, Rosemary?
It's yeah, it's a photograph that yes, that I took.
I see. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you.
So many important connections. Connections within our own hearts, connections to grand, almost unbelievably grand movements in nature, in life itself, and then to the child who made something from a gift from people who had tattoos on their arms from a death camp. There's, I'm speechless and so glad that you've shared what you shared. Thank you so much. Laurie,
Yes,
can you help me out with the schedule?
I can. So we're at 8:17. So we were going to start Zazen at 8:20. So I don't know. We have 3 minutes to either.
Julie, we only have 1 minute. Right now it's 8:19 already.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's almost time to do Zazen.
All right. And then at the end of Zazen, we do the closing
Refuges.
ceremony.
We do the refuges.
Do the refuges. Okay. And that is sung, the sung refuges in Pali.
Yes.
Thank you. And Laurie, will you lead those?
Sure.
Thank you.
Buddham Sarnam Gacchami Dhammam Sarnam Gacchami Sangham Sarnam Gacchami Dudiyampi Buddham Sarnam Gacchami Dudiyampi Dhammam Sarnam Gacchami Dudiyampi Sangham Sarnam
Tatyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Tatyampi Dhamman Saranam Gacchami. Tatyampi Sangam Saranam Gacchami.
Good night, everyone. Please take with you all the gifts that were offered this evening in such generosity and open-heartedness.